Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Black Women in Tech. We are on episode 5, and I have a very special guest today. Her name is Lorraine Chambers, and she is a Scrum Master. And we're going to get into what that is. But thank you so much for joining the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Khadijah. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is what networking does for you. I met her at Black Women in Tech conference. So I just think that, it's dope that I was able to connect with these women and, bring them on the show to talk to you guys. Um, so like I said, you're a Scrum Master. Can you just tell us a little bit about what exactly that is?
Sure. So let me back up a little bit and explain what Agile is. And then Scrum is a subset of Agile. So Agile is a way of working in small iterations, getting the work out to clients more efficiently, getting feedback quickly instead of working in these like huge big projects that many people used to do in the past using something called waterfall. We try to engage stakeholders earlier and get their feedback earlier. So that's Agile. And then one of the frameworks under Agile is Scrum. So that's where we work, and we have time boxes, we work in sprints, we have different Scrum events, we do refinements, retrospectives, things like that. So that's what's involved in Scrum. And so now, as a Scrum Master, I coach the teams through that Agile and Scrum process. And so just work with them and making sure that they're understanding um, what Scrum is, how it works, and constantly helping them to improve along the way.
Okay. And is this something you need a degree to do, or is this something you can get a certification on your own?
So from I happen to have degrees, but I don't believe you necessarily need a degree. You definitely, it's encouraged to have a certification.
Hmm.
So some people have a certified Scrum Master certification from Scrum Alliance. Some people have something called a professional Scrum Master certification from scrum.org. So there's a few organizations out there that offer these certifications. I think more so than a degree, I think it's more important to just have be able to facilitate, um, be able to coach. You have to really be a good listener. Have some work experience. I think that those soft skills are really important if you're pursuing the Scrum Master role more so than a degree, and that's my opinion.
Okay. And so we talked about this a little bit before we started. What's the difference between what you do and someone that is a project manager?
Yes. So a project manager, they're more focused on like project scope, budget, timelines, managing risk, risk assessments, things like that. Me as a Scrum Master, I'm more so focused on the team, making sure that they're collaborating, that they're working well together, they are engaging stakeholders, they are, getting that feedback and, pivoting when they need to. So definitely as a Scrum Master, I'm a lot more team focused, focused. I also work with the organization, coach the leaders there as well. And a project manager is more, they're dealing more with timelines, budgets, and things like that. So it's um, a different skill set, I believe, between the two.
Do you work closely with project managers in your day to day job?
In my particular organization, I don't. The
Okay.
teams I work with, we don't work with project managers. There's a role in Scrum called a product owner. They tend to manage those things. But I know in some organizations they do have scrum masters and project managers, and they may work together. But in my particular instance, I don't.
Yeah, so this is a career in tech where you don't necessarily have to be techie.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. How long
Yes.
have you been doing it?
So I've been a scrum master, like working as a full-time scrum master for about 3.5 years. But I've been on agile and scrum teams, I would say, for about 5 years. I've had like a different role. I was doing software testing for some time, and I was doing that on a scrum team before I became a scrum master.
Okay, and is this something that you've always wanted to do? Like when you were a little girl, what was your dream job?
That's a good question. When I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a journalist.
Wow.
I
Okay.
always liked writing. I like news. I like facts. It's A or B. I like stuff like that. But for some reason, I don't know. I didn't really pursue it. Um, but I know I always liked business. I liked computers, and I tried to take a few coding classes, and my brain is just not wired for coding. I took a C class. You probably know what C is.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I was done. So, but I like the concept of business and stuff. So I always, as I got older in college and undergrad, I knew I wanted to work in like this tech, business industry. So after several roles that I've had, I've worked in, client services. I've worked as a software tester. I've done, client relationships. I've done some product management work. I finally landed this role, and I honestly think this is the first role I've had that has been just a good fit for me, just the way I think, my personality, my relationships with people. It's been a really nice fit. So it's been a nice journey getting here.
So, what challenges have you seen or faced being a Black woman in the tech field? A predominantly white male dominated field.
Yeah, especially early on in my career, I very oftentimes I was the only Black female in the room
Mm.
amongst a very male, white, and Asian dominated industry. So, sometimes I might have felt intimidated or, shrunk back when I shouldn't have. But yeah, that was, definitely a challenge um, early on. But I think as time has gone on and I've matured, and even the landscape of the tech industry is changing as well. I'm seeing more people that look like me, not enough, but I'm seeing a little bit more. Um, and that's positive, and that's, it's good to see. And I'm looking forward to seeing even more.
Yeah, a lot more Black women are, trying to transition into the tech industry, especially because I think a lot of the positions you can work from home, so it doesn't
Yes.
really affect, you being a mom and a wife if that's what you have going on.
Yes.
And it's good pay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's definitely a good thing. Um, and so that I kind of want to pivot to what you do outside of your job, because you said you want to see more people, more Black women, and your coaching business will help achieve that. So tell us about your coaching business.
Yes. So, the name of my uh, firm, or my, yeah, we could call it a firm, is Don't Go Chasing Waterfall. And just a quick tidbit about that name. Before Scrum and Agile, the method of working was something called waterfall, where you work on these big projects, and maybe somebody would design it and they would hand it off to someone that would build it, and they would hand it off to somebody that tested. So it's almost like a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Agile and Scrum is the opposite of that. We try to work in smaller iterations to kind of do all of that within short sprints. So that hence the name Don't Go Chasing Waterfall is also a song.
Right.
People of a certain age know that
Hmm.
it's a TLC hit um, as well. So with that being said, I coach those people that are pivoting from other careers. I've coached people in the finance field and in the medical field. I'm coaching them to get their certification. That's one piece of the program, and also helping them through the interview process. So I also specialize in like interview simulation. So we
Mm.
actually go through the interview process. It's like we're really doing it, whether it's in person or virtual, and I kind of walk them through the whole steps of what's required, because these interviews could be intense, because these companies and these recruiters, they want to make sure that they're hiring the right people. It's an investment, so definitely walk them through that. And I interview Scrum Masters as at my current job as well, so I definitely know what recruiters and what management and what teams are looking for when they're looking to hire a Scrum Master.
Okay. So we have a question. Jay Johnson said he missed the duties of Scrum. Is it an acronym?
No, actually, the term Scrum, for those familiar with rugby, I know rugby's not that popular in the States, but in Europe, um, the rugby team, the way I understand it, they kind of work. I guess before they do a play or something, they kind of huddle up and
Mm-hmm.
talk about, I guess, their plan. So I think that's where Scrum came from. It's just like a sports terminology, just kind of like you kind of stand up and huddle, you kind of
Mm-hmm.
work as a team and kind of figure out your plan for
Okay.
the day. So yeah, that's I didn't make it up. That's what that's what the founders did. But yeah, but as a scrum master, if he's asking about like the duties of a scrum master, it's some a lot of coaching. You're coaching people, getting them familiar with the process. Um, you're facilitating. We don't call them meetings. We call them scrum events. So you're facilitating events. You might do like one-on-one sessions with your team. You do a lot of training as well. So it's many hats as a scrum master. No 2 days, at least for me, no 2 days are alike. And I think that's one of the other things that I really like about being a scrum master.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. Um,
Yes.
so what just throughout your journey in tech, if you had to sum everything up as a book title, what would that be?
I say this all the time, and I say you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say you never know is like you might have a plan for your life and for your career, and sometimes things change. You just never know where life is going to take you. Your career could have some ups and downs, some disappointments. You never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. So I say that to say, always be ready. Always be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right.
So always stay skilled up. Make sure like your certifications are you're up to date. You're always upskilling. You're always learning. You're going to workshops, things like that. I always encourage like my mentees to attend workshops, attend conferences, network
Mm-hmm.
with people like you, like even the Facebook page, the Black Women in Tech. There's
Mm-hmm.
great, resources there. You know, YouTube University. There's so much there that we could use, that we have at our disposal in
Mm-hmm.
this day and age, that maybe 20 years ago we didn't have. So definitely encourage people to to stay ready, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, right now is the information age. You can pretty much get a free class, a free
Yes.
certification, or even just maybe $20, $30 you can pay and get
Right.
certified. Um,
Right.
for somebody just starting out, or somebody who wants to switch careers, is Scrum something that you think is like an entry level, something they could do to get in, or is there a better way for them to kind of get their foot in the door?
That is a good question. A Scrum Master role is not an entry level job. I would definitely say you should have some experience under your belt. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be tech, um, tech under your belt, because you can use those soft skills that I mentioned, and you can transition from an education background. I've seen teachers transition into this role. You can transition from the medical field, fashion. The good thing about the Scrum Master role and just tech in general, tech is everywhere. Every industry, every company uses tech. The supermarket uses tech. Like, you can't get away from technology. So I would say, like, for example, let's say you're in the medical field and you research the Scrum Master role and it really speaks to you, it resonates with you, it's something that you want to try, I would say try to look for roles maybe in the health tech space,
Mm-hmm.
So there's health tech, maybe insurance companies, they use tech as well. If you're a teacher, maybe look more into like the edu tech. So many people are going to school online, even primary schools and high schools, not just colleges, and they have all this technology that they have to use to teach the children. That might be something that you could really be a good fit there, because you have that background, you have that education background, so you would be a really good person to work with the development teams, like the software developers that are building those types of tools. You could really be a nice fit there. So I would say, try to find your niche, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, because tech is everywhere, and then you will probably enjoy it better if you're working for a company or in an area that you really enjoy and that kind of speaks to you.
Yeah, I love that. I think that what I try to do with the show is just to show women that you don't have to know how to code, because I know that can be intimidating. There are a lot of jobs in tech that don't require you to be techie, and you can, transfer a lot of your skills from what you're doing now into
Yeah.
a new career. Um, so,
Yeah.
how can the people find you to get coaching for their transition?
Yes, I mostly work off of Instagram, so you could definitely find me at Don't Go Chasing Waterfall. I think it's on the screen right now. I have the dots in between um, each word. And yeah, get on the wait list. I'm going to be reopening the program at the top of the year. So, yes, send me a DM in there. We could chat a little bit. We could have a discussion. I definitely I do a customized program. So I like to see where you are, meet you where you are, see what skills you need, to brush up on, where you're having trouble. And yeah, we'll get you hired. We'll get you that job.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a great conversation. I hope we inspired somebody to, take that leap of faith and see what's out there. Make sure you contact Lorraine and get your coaching so that you can do something different. Work from home, make the money, take care of your family. So thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Khadijah.